and you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind, the sports podcast for women about things that matter to us and more. So come join us on your podcast platform. Hey everybody, it's the 13th episode and I'm here with Connor Dietz, who is the co-founder and CRO of GMTM. He was a former D1 quarterback and team captain at the Air Force Academy, get out of here, while training with several NFL teams. Okay, coming into the present, in 2019, he helped co-found GMTM. Connor, welcome to a WNBA State of Mind where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today, of course, we have an all-star cast of ballers on the show, which makes for a great show. Connor, please introduce yourself and elaborate on who you are and give us your best football story.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Adrian, for the introduction and making me sound way better than I actually am. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. And I know it's typically a basketball platform, but we're excited to chat with you today about some other stuff going on as well. So thanks for having me. I'm just a kid from Ohio, from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised. From me, it was sports 24/7, 365 growing up there. Obviously, football is the name of the game where I grew up. So, if you're not a basketball player, it's football. And football is definitely my avenue. So, did that and had the opportunity to go out to the Air Force Academy to continue my football career. And probably the best story that I can think of is probably something along the lines of, I think like one of my first starts down in Utah. We were playing Utah. They're like top 5 in the country. I broke my hand, my throwing hand. I wasn't a very good thrower anyway, but my right hand, my throwing hand, I broke it on the third play of the game, played the whole game on it with a broken hand, and somehow threw for, 100 and some yards or whatever it was with a broken hand. So that's probably the best story I got for you today.
That's an absolutely fantastic story, and it's a great story for these youngins to hear because nowadays you don't hear of that kind of stuff where you got players that are playing injured. We know how to play injured. Our tolerance for pain is totally different than these kids nowadays, man. I remember playing with, broken hand, broken fingers,
totally.
Sprained ankles, all kinds of stuff, pop that thing, run over to the side, pop that thing back in spot and tape it up and keep it moving. And so that's the way that it was. And so, for everybody who's just chiming in, you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I'm here with my guy, Connor Dietz. He's going to fill us in on what he's doing. And it's in regards to winter sports, you guys. And it's always great to collaborate with other sports entities, right? And GMTM is a social network built by athletes for athletes and their primary goal is to connect players with opportunities. Talk about that, Connor.
Exactly right. In a world right now where it seems like there's so much access to everything, there's really not. And we see sports and the sports industry almost as one of those kind of archaic or kind of broken industries where there's still a lot of incredible athletes that get left behind or get left, kind of in the dust, so to speak, whether it's in their current sport or in even a new sport or a new opportunity. So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to create access and democratize sports across the board. What makes that really interesting is, we started in traditional sports, and today's convo, is really focused around winter sports or Olympic sports, which, there's some incredible opportunities for athletes to progress in a sport that they may not be training for today. We have 2 Olympic bobsledders who are in Beijing currently that were previously in other sports. One was similar to myself. He was a football athlete a year and a half ago, and he found bobsled and got recruited for bobsled and made the team for bobsled all through GMTM, and is now over in Beijing going for gold. So what we're trying to do is, again, create a social network and a platform where athletes can discover new opportunities, and organizations can truly find and work with the athletes that they need to, regardless of, income, geography, background, all of those things that prohibit access.
Yeah, absolutely. And that story that you were talking about, about the guys being in Beijing, it's like, all of a sudden, you wake up and you're in Jamaica and you're a bobsledder. It's just,
Exactly.
it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Athletes are amazing. How you can take and you can just completely ditch a sport that you were in and go into another sport and be great at it.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is about work ethic, man, and being focused and just getting after it. I know some athletes, actually a family member of mine who played cross sports, and he played for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals. He was Bo Jackson and didn't even get it, and that's Damon Hughes. So it's amazing what we can do. And so that's leading to the next question. And we kind of went over it, but what concept are you trying to bring to the people? Everybody has a concept that they're trying to bring. What are you trying to get, concept you're trying to bring to the people? What do they need to understand? If they involved with you?
Yeah, first and foremost, athletes, this is no secret, but athletes are some of the most coveted brands in the world. Yet they're the most under-resourced, kind of from top to bottom. So there's always going to be the top percentile of athletes that are, they're first to get scholarship offers, they're first to get drafted, yada, yada. But there's a whole long tail, about 98% of athletes that are under-resourced and undervalued. And so what we want to do is we want to really empower those athletes and give them the best tools to be successful. Kind of what that looks like in today and with technology is, there's never been a time, which is crazy to say, that an athlete actually owns and controls their content, their data, and their information in one place for free. That is available from GMTM. So we provide all athletes across the globe the opportunity to truly own their brand and put their brand in front of opportunities and organizations, first and foremost.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just great. It's great. And right now is, just like you said, it's the time of the athlete. I can imagine if all this was going on back in the day, when I was an athlete, and you were an athlete, imagine where it could be now. They wouldn't even be discussing 1 million. They'd probably be discussing 3 and 4 and 5 million at that point, And so it's just fantastic. All of the platforms that are coming up, on a virtual basis, that allows athletes to tap into it. And people haven't tapped into it yet. They really haven't, okay? Because I'm right now with a company called Millions, and I can tell you this, the platform that they've allowed me to be on and push myself out there and brand myself has been absolutely incredible. And people haven't caught on to it yet,
Absolutely.
And it's real and it's out there. And I suggest that, you really tap into this podcast because you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I'm here with my guy, Connor Dietz, and we're talking about virtual tryouts. Okay, so can you discuss the recently launched Team USA Winter Sports, virtual tryouts on GMTM? Because this to me is blowing my mind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we kind of mentioned it, like the key word is access, right? And, what we're trying to do is for any athlete in any sport, right, to advance their career, they first got to know about it, right? So part of creating a virtual tryout is kind of eliminating any barriers to entry, so to speak, right? So any athlete across the country right now, any age, right? You can, by coming into GMTM, right, you're going to learn about winter sports. You're going to be able to actually participate in winter sports, and you're going to have the opportunity to be evaluated or actually connect with those organizations in winter sports to ultimately advance their career. So that's what a virtual tryout is. It's about, engaging and understanding what opportunities are available, and then it's being able to put your best foot forward in front of them. So that's really kind of the premise of what we're trying to do. And we talked about athletes being able to transition from sports A big key in this initiative with the Olympic team in all winter sports is talent transfer athletes. They are looking for athletes from other sports to bring their skills and their capabilities into a new sport. I know the example we shared earlier, right? That's an explosive athlete from the game of football who's now using his explosiveness and power in a new sport of bobsled, right? That could be balance and speed skating. That could be, exposure to different velocity sports or impact sports for aerials, all types of stuff. So they're really looking to find transfer athletes.
Wow, that's amazing. And as I'm thinking, my mind is starting to spin like, okay, well, what kind of athletes would really translate into fantastic athletes in the winter sports? And I'm thinking, okay, from the region I'm from, I'm top in New York, we have all types of, hockey players up here. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So like that is the thing, in the wintertime, hockey. Even my high school has an ice rink, and we have a hockey team. And so like that would be something nice. So, I may be able to pitch to some of those kids, and a lot of them follow me on social media. So it'll be something that'll be nice to really get at them. So I came and I'm interested. Okay, so walk me through. Okay, the virtual tryouts includes a number of activities to help them be discovered by coaches, but give me a couple examples of it in bobsledding.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and so when you go there, and this is, again, it's as simple as it gets, GMTM.com, right? Is where everything can be found. But athletes, they start by, again, literally just creating their profile, and that profile is a home for them with all of their video content, kind of where they're playing, information about them, their social media. Again, all just in one place, so they can really be easily connected and evaluated by coaches. Kind of trying to create that one-stop shop and that two-way connection street. When they're actually performing these tryout, combine drills or whatever it may be, they could literally do them from their basement or their backyard, right? Backyard if you're in Tampa, or basement if you're up in New York, right? Depending on the weather. But just literally filming themselves, right? If coaches want to see a broad jump, I can film a broad jump from my phone and then upload it directly to my profile or into the virtual tryout. And coaches are going to have immediate access to that and be able to, give me feedback, coach me up, all the above.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. It really does. Now you can just upload stuff and say, hey, listen, and this pandemic has really been, and I always say it's been a blessing and a curse, and when we first came into it, it was a curse. Our lives were over. We didn't know what to do. The only thing that we could do, and thank God we have technology, was get on and start having Zoom and start to do different things. And it forced us like into this new age. And I don't think if the pandemic hadn't happened, maybe we wouldn't have advanced as much as we had to, so that now we can have these virtual platforms, whereas I don't even have to leave the comfort of my own home, to be honest with you, if I have a huge backyard. And I don't have to worry about trying out and what mask am I going to wear? How am I going to run up and down the floor with an N95 on my face? It's absolutely amazing what you guys have done. Okay, so we talked about the steps involved. The athletes need to come on board to be selected. You go on there, you do your profile, and then after that, I'm sure that your team, your management team, will get in touch with this person and then go from there. And you said also that you have training and different things like that. So is there anything else that we didn't cover, besides going into like what we're going to do next, which is you tell everybody where they can go from Facebook all the way to Twitter to Reddit, wherever you guys are. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on as we wind down the show?
No, I mean, that's perfect, Adrian. I think that's always the question, which is, hey, today we're talking about winter sports, right? And so come to GMTM to try out for winter sports. What next, right? Well, that's where really the power of GMTM is, which is, again, we are a social network. So yes, we're a location where an athlete can try out for winter sports, but that's the same network where they can also connect with other athletes, connect with other coaches, colleges, trainers, have resources about diet, workout, all types of stuff, all in that network. So the power of GMTM is truly in the social network component. What makes our social network different is there are the world's best organizations and teams that are also there looking for those athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not enough to go and build your profile and do this and do that. There's so many different platforms that allow you to come on their platform, build stuff, and then there's nothing after that.
Absolutely.
So I really do appreciate you guys having that follow-up and having legitimate, viable coaches that are there and actually trying to help people get to the Winter Olympics and also discover hidden treasure within themselves. So shout out to you. Now, before we go, okay, I need you to let everybody know where they can find you guys on every single social media network platform that you're on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Super easy at GMTM Sports. So we're all over the map, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, a podcast near you. So we appreciate it. But yeah, GMTM.com and at GMTM Sports. You can start today.
That's what up. And we're going to take it out with that one. You're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I was here, my guy, Connor Dietz, played for the Air Force Academy, D1, quarterback, team captain. Appreciate you coming on the show. Come back.
Adrian, thank you so much. We'll do.
Definitely.